Hare Krishna, welcome everyone to our Chaitanya Charitāmrita overview class. Thank you for joining in. We'll begin with our prayers. Om Ajnanatimmirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manovishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamsha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamsha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namosute तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानो सुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामी नित्यनामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश तारिणी जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधार श्रीवासदि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे Hare Krishna. So welcome everyone. We are discussing from the 8th chapter of Adi Leela. The author receives the orders of Krishna and Guru. A very, very important chapter which explains the power of blessings and the power of humble submission to the authorities and Guru and Krishna. So how one can become empowered just by taking shelter of Krishna, just by becoming humble in front of the devotees and the Supreme Lord. So Kaviraj Goswami begins this chapter by telling, by mercy of Lord Sri Chaitanya, even a dog, can. He says, I have become a dancing dog, and I have been empowered to write this Chaitanya Charitāmrita. So he glorifies Lord Chaitanya and Panchatattva. He invokes their blessings, and we discussed till verse number 43, in which Kaviraj Goswami he glorifies Chaitanya Bhagavat in this section, glorifies the author of Chaitanya Bhagavat, that is Vrindavan Das Thakur. Ore Mudha Lokashun Chaitanya Mangal Chaitanyera Mahinamayate Jani Be Shakal. Oh fools, please don't read my book, he's saying. Please read Chaitanya Mangal. That is Chaitanya Bhagavat. If you read Chaitanya Bhagavat, you will know everything about Lord Chaitanya. Vrindavan Das Kaila Chaitanya Mangal, Yahate Chaitanya Leela Burnila Circle. So Vrindavan Das, he wrote this Chaitanya Mangal and he described everything about Lord Chaitanya. And as he started writing about Nityananda Prabhu, he went into ecstasy writing. Nityananda Leela Varnane Hoila Avesh, Chaitanya Rasesha Leela Rahila Avashesh. So the book became very huge. So Vrindavan Das Thakur could not write the other later pastimes of Lord Chaitanya in detail, the Antya Leela pastimes. So all the Vrindavan Vasis, they wanted to hear those pastimes which were not described by Vrindavan Das. And that's why they requested Kaviraj Goswami that he please write. So we discussed till verse 43. Ataeva bhajaloka chaitanya nityananda paibe khandibe samsara dukh pabe premananda. Then after this, from 44 to 80 verses, now Kaviraj Goswami, he is humbly explaining why I am writing this Chaitanya Charitāmrita, because there are few books which were already available. Chaitanya Bhagavat was there, Chaitanya Mangal was there, Still he is writing Chaitanya Caritāmrta. Why? So he is describing that Chaitanya Mangal, which is just written by Vrindavan Das Thakur, although it is a very expansive book. Vrindavan Das Koila Chaitanya Mangal, Tahate Chaitanya Lila Varnila Sakal. So he described everything about Lord Chaitanya in Chaitanya Mangal. So what he did, he first described them in a summary form. Vrindavan Das Thakur, he summarized all the pastimes of Lord, and then he described them in detail. But he says the pastimes of Lord Chaitanya, they are unfathomable, they are unlimited, and therefore, Kaviraj Vrindavan Das Thakur, as he was writing this book, the book became very vast. Chaitanya Chandrera Lila Ananta Apar Varnite Grantha Hoila Vistar. The book became very big, and therefore all those pastimes which which Vrindavan Das Thakur could not describe, Brajvasis wanted to hear. Sei sab lilara shunite vivran Vrindavanavasi bhaktera utkanthit man. All the Brajvasis, they wanted to hear those pastimes. Then Kaviraj Goswami describes something about Vrindavan. What was happening in Vrindavan that time when Kaviraj Goswami was there? So in that period, Vrindavan was the epitome, as it's at its epitome of glory. So many temples, such wonderful worship was going on. Kaviraj Goswami describes the worship of Govinda Dev temple. As now we can see Radha Govinda Dev Mandir in Vrindavan, it is just a heritage site, and some pujaris are performing a little bit of service there. But Kaviraj Goswami now describes what was the glory of Govinda Dev Mandir. And hearing this glory of Govinda Dev Mandir and seeing the current scenario, it makes us really humble. And it brings out the reality of the world, that we cannot just take anything for granted. Anything which is going on so nicely, it may be taken away anytime. So therefore, we have to take the process of devotional service very, very seriously, because when what is going to happen, nobody can say. Because Govinda Dev Mandir was such a wonderful temple, such opulent deity worship. Thousands and thousands of servants were there. Vrindavane Kalpadrume Suvarna Sadan Mahayog Peetha Taha Ratna Simhasan. So in Vrindavan, it was a Kalpadruma, it was a place of pilgrimage, full of Kalpadruma, full of desire trees. And in that Vrindavan, there were places where golden thrones were there. That means the temples. In temples, the golden thrones were there for Krishna. Tate vasiyache sada Brajendra Nandan Shri Govinda Dev Nam Sakshat Madan. And in Govinda Dev temple, Lord Krishna was residing like a king. Brajendra Nandan, he was son of Brajendra, son of Nanda Maharaj, and he was so beautiful, like Cupid himself, Cupid personified. He was not an ordinary, he was transcendental Cupid. What type of service was going on there? It was unimaginable. Raj Seva hoy yaha vividha prakar, Divya Samagri, Divya Vastra Alankar. Raj Seva, opulent royal worship was going on. It was not in just, some people would come and do worship and they would go. No. Such a huge and magnificent worship was going on. Raj Seva hoye taha Vichitra. Wonderful. Various types of services were there. Divya Samagri. The best quality material was used in service of Krishna. Divya Samagri, Divya Vastra Alankar. And Govind Dev, as if you have been to Jaipur, you can see how beautiful Govind Dev is. Such a big deity. And that deity was dressed very nicely, opulently with all the silken clothes. Divya Samagri, very nice, high quality food, and all the bhoga was offered. Very costly jewelry was there. Divya Samagri, Divya Vastra Alankar. And how many servants were there? Not 10, not 100. Thousands of servants were there. सहस्त्र सेवक सेवा करे अनुक्षण सहस्त्र वदने सेवा नायाय वर्णन. So much was going on. Kaviraj Goswami says, even if I speak with thousands of mouths, I cannot describe it. Sahasra vadane seva nahaya varnan. I cannot describe with thousand mouths what type of service was going on, what type of worship, what type of magnificent opulence was there. I cannot describe. And then he describes the temple priest. Who was the temple head of the temple that time? Sevar Adhyaksha Shri Pandita Haridas Yara Yash Gune Sarva Jagate Prakash. Haridas, Pandita Haridas. He is not our Haridas Thakur from Jagannath Puri. He is another personality, another great associate of Lord Chaitanya. Sevar Adhyaksha. He was the head priest in Govind Dev temple. So who was Haridas Pandit? Haridas Pandit, he was the disciple of Ananta Acharya, who was the disciple of Gadadhar Pandit. So that is the introduction of Haridas Pandit. Tar Yash Guna Sarva Jagate Prakash. He was not an ordinary personality. He was a great devotee of the Lord. Everyone in Vrindavan and all over the world, his glories were spread because he was really a pure devotee. He was manifesting all the 50 qualities of living entities. Now we know Krishna has 64 prominent qualities, Lord Vishnu has 60, Lord Shiva has 55, and living entities, we can at the max acquire 50 qualities. Kaviraj Goswami says all the 50 qualities were fully manifested in Haridas. He gives some of the important qualities. Sushil, Sahishnu, Shanta, Vadanya, Gambhir, Madhur Vachan, Madhur Cheshta, Mahadhir. Sushil, was gentle, tolerant, Sahishnu, Vadanya, very merciful. Sushil, Sahishnu, Shant, peaceful, Vadanya, magnanimous, Gambhir, grave, Madhur Vachan. His words were very sweet. Madhur Cheshta, Mahadhir, very sober personality. What else? Sabar Samman Karta Karena Sabar Hit. He would give respect to everyone. Sabar Samman Karta. He would just think of everyone's welfare. Kautilya, Matsarya, Himsa, Na Jane Tarachit. He didn't even know what is Kautilya, what is diplomacy, envy, jealousy. All these things were not there in his character. That is a devotee. Krishnera ei sadharana shad gun panchas esver guner tar sharire nivas. All the 50 qualities were manifesting in this devotee. So that's how a devotee can become a reservoir of all the good qualities. Just by serving Krishna, just by serving the devotees of the Lord, naturally all these qualities they manifest in devotees. Kaviraj Goswami quotes a verse from Bhagavatam, very famous verse. Yasyasti bhakti bhagavati yakinchana sarvair gunaiस्तत्र samasate suraha harava bhaktasya kuto mahadguna manorathena sati dhavato bahi. Anybody who is engaged in service of the Supreme Lord, all the godly divine qualities they manifest in that person. A person who is not a devotee, although he may manifest some of these qualities, but all these qualities, when they are manifested in non-devotees, they are just manifested to increase the sense gratification. That's all. Manorathena sati dhavato bhahi, because all these materialists and non-devotees, they are just running after their mental desires. So whatever qualities they may manifest, but the aim of all these qualities is to do sense gratification, either personal sense gratification or extended sense gratification. And people they develop such and they show such good qualities, they are known as very good people and they get so much of name, fame, respect. That is another type of sense gratification. But devotees, when they manifest such qualities, they are manifesting these qualities only to serve Krishna and the devotees. So Haridas Thakur, Pandit Haridas, he was a disciple of Anantacharya, who was a disciple of Gadadhar Pandit. And Anantacharya was also not an ordinary personality. He was also a reservoir of all the good qualities. And Pandit Haridas, he had many disciples, Anantacharya. And Haridas was one of his most beloved disciples. So Prabhupada writes in the purport that this Anantacharya, who is he? Actually, he is Sudevi from Krishna Leela, who appeared in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's pastimes. So Anantacharya is Sudevi. His disciple was Pandit Haridas. And then Prabhupada goes into detailed explanation. He says, in Jagannath Puri, there is a Ganga Mata Mat. This Ganga Mata Mat, some of us must have gone there. It is near Sarvam Bhattacharya's place. So this Ganga Mata Mat, it was established by Anantacharya, and this Anantacharya's disciple. So this Prabhupada writes that this Anantacharya, he is also known as Vinod Manjari. And who is this Haridas Pandit? Haridas Pandit in Krishna Leela is Ras Manjari. So all these associates of Lord Chaitanya, they are all associates of Krishna. So Prabhupada writes about Ganga Mata. Ganga Mata Goswami is also a great devotee of Lord Chaitanya. She brought a deity of Sri Rasika Rai. So there was a person named Krishna Mishra. He was staying in Jaipur. So Ganga Mata Goswami, she went to Jaipur and she brought this deity of Krishna, Sri Rasika Rai. And she established that deity in the house of Sarvam Bhattacharya, which is still there. If you go there in Jagannath Puri at the home of Sarvam Bhattacharya, which is now very nicely renovated. Earlier it was in a very dilapidated condition. So just we went some time back. It was a very wonderful renovated place. Beautiful deities. So many deities are there on the altar. So Prabhupada writes that in the disciple in the 5th generation of Anantacharya, his name is Vanamali. And 6th generation, Bhagwan Das. So that's how Prabhupada describes all these generations of people who are maintaining this Ganga Mata Mat. And then he says, Now the 12th descendant is maintaining the monastery of Ganga Mata. Why Prabhupada is giving all these details? Many times Prabhupada, he would give in a purport, he would give such details. If you go to this place, you get down at this station, and then you go out of the station, walk 10 minutes, and then you'll find a tree, then take a right turn, then you walk for 1 kilometer, you'll find another house. And then if you walk further, you will go to this place. Why Prabhupada is giving all these details? Prabhupada wants to make our faith very, very strong in all these pastimes. Nobody should doubt the authenticity of these pastimes. Oh, these are all, made by some people. I don't believe it. No, all these things happened. So Prabhupada wants to make our faith very, very strong. And that's why he gives all these details sometimes. One time, one of our devotees, he was given this service of translating Caitanya Caritāmrta into Hindi and into Marathi, sorry. So this person, when he read these descriptions, he said, this is not purport. Purport means you give some philosophical understanding. What is this purport? He is giving just the map. He's just giving the location of this place. This person didn't realize that this is most important to establish the authenticity of Caitanya Caritāmrita. In fact, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he had personally sent all his disciples to these places so that they can, get exact location of all the pastime places of Lord Chaitanya and his associates. And that's why Prabhupada, he writes all these details in the purports so that our faith becomes very strong. Kaviraj Goswami continues about Pandit Haridas. Chaitanya Nityananda Tara Parama Ullas Parama Vishwas Chaitanya Charitra Tare Parama Ullas. Chaitanya Nityananda Tare Parama Vishwas. He had unflinching faith in Lord Chaitanya Nityananda. And when he would recite Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's pastimes, he would be in ecstasy. He would be just immersed, singing and chanting the glories of Lord Chaitanya. That was his satisfaction. That is a devotee. As a devotee, we should be just satisfied hearing and chanting about Krishna's name, form, pastimes, Mahaprabhu's name, form, pastimes, because this is the only thing which can give satisfaction to the heart, to the mind, to all the senses. Chaitanya Charitra, only thing which can satisfy. Sarvendriya tripta hoye shravanayaha. When you hear the pastimes of Lord Chaitanya, all the senses can be satisfied. Similarly, Krishna's pastimes can satisfy all the senses. Therefore, we should drown our mind and senses in the pastimes of Lord Chaitanya. Then we can expect some purification. To the extent we are immersing our mind and senses regularly in hearing the pastimes of the Lord, to that extent we'll be purified. To that extent our mind will give up the desires of lording over the material nature. To that extent mind will become distasteful from the material sense pleasure. Nivritta tarishai rupagiyamana bhavau shadashrotra manobhirama kaha uttama shloka gunanuvada puman virajyeta vina pashughanat. Therefore, Parikshit Maharaj says, who will not hear the pastimes of Krishna? Only killer of the soul or a sinful person will not take interest in Krishna Katha, which is the only remedy for this material existence. Paya manushya janma jena shune gauragun hena janma tara vyartha hoila. Paya amrita dhuni piye vishyagartha pani janmi ase kene nahi maila. Kaviraj Goswami describes The perfection of life is to hear about Mahaprabhu's pastimes. Who will not take interest in these pastimes? Only a fool person will not take interest. These pastimes are like nectar, and all the other katha of this world is like the poison. But it's so very astonishing that people, they give up nectar and they are drinking poison. आश्चर्यम् एतद्धि मनुष्य लोके सुधाम परित्यज्य विषं पिबन्ति नामानि नारायण गोचराणि त्यक्त्वान्यवाचा कुहका पठन्ति. So very astonishing. Sudham Parityaj, people are giving up nectar and they're drinking poison. Therefore, the more we hear, the more we are satisfied. The process works. We have to do it regularly. Another quality of Pandit Haridas. Vaishnavera gunagrahi na dekhaye dosh. Kaye mano vakye kore Vaishnava santosh. Very, very important quality of Haridas, which every one of us should have. He was Saragrahi, Gunagrahi. Vaishnava is Gunagrahi. He just sees the good things. He sees the good qualities in devotees. Vaishnava Gunagrahi na dekhaye dosh. He would never see any faults in anyone. Kaye mano vakye kare Vaishnava santosh. With his body, with his mind, with his words, he was just interested in satisfying the devotees of the Lord. Especially in this world, people, they want to speak ill about others. There is a bee mentality and fly mentality. If you find a bee in the midst of garbage pile, that bee will not stay there. Bee will find a flower somewhere in the corner and will take the nectar from there. On the contrary, a fly will just find a little garbage in the garden full of flowers and go there. So it is so very difficult to focus on the good qualities of devotees. Very easy to find faults in devotees. But that's what we have to cultivate. We have to cultivate seeing good qualities. It's a qualification of a Vaishnava to see good in others. Just like Parikshit Maharaj. Parikshit Maharaj, he saw good in Kali also. Kalim sabhajayantyarya gunadya sarabhagina yatra sankirtane naiva swarvaswartho bhilabhyate. Kali Yuga is worshipped by great sages because in this Kali Yuga, just by chanting the names of the Lord, one can achieve perfection. And Parikshit Maharaj also could see that this Kali Yuga, although it is full of faults, but just by thinking about the good thing, you get the good reaction. But when you do a wrong thing, then you get a bad reaction. Kushalani ashu siddhyanti netarani kritanya. So therefore, a devotee is like a honeybee, always eager to find nectar. That is the quality we have to cultivate. So this Haridas, his quality was Nirantara Shunete ho Chaitanya Mangal Tara Prasade Shunera Vaishnava Sakal. Regularly, regularly he would hear Chaitanya Mangal. He would read Chaitanya Mangal. He would hear Chaitanya Mangal. And by mercy of Haridas, all the other devotees, they would also get chance to hear about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's pastimes. He was like a moon. Whenever he would be in the assembly, he illuminated entire assembly by speaking Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's pastimes. And the more he spoke, the more he would be filled with transcendental bliss. That is a natural experience of a person who is speaking Krishna Katha, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's pastimes. Naturally, one becomes blissful and happy reading and hearing and speaking about Krishna. So this Haridas, he ordered Kaviraj Goswami. Teho ati kripa kori agya koila more gaurangera sheshalila varni bar tare. Teho ati kripa, that was the mercy of Haridas Thakur. He ordered Kaviraj Goswami, please describe the remaining pastimes of Lord Gauranga. Gaurangera Sheshalila Varni Bharatare. Please write about the later pastimes of Mahaprabhu. So when we get instructions from the superiors, that is a mercy. Teho ati kripa kori agya koila. It is a rare thing to get instructions from the pure devotees of the Lord. So when we get instructions from pure devotees, it is their mercy, it is their blessings, which is coming in the form of instructions. So Pandit Haridas, he instructed Kaviraj Goswami. And then Kaviraj Goswami describes there were many more devotees in Vrindavan. They also requested me to write. There was a Govinda Gosai. Just like Pandit Haridas, he was the head priest. Under him there was another person, Govinda Gosai. Who was Govinda Gosai? He was a disciple of Kashishwar Pandit. And he was the dearmost servant of Govinda Dev. Prabhupada writes, who was Kashishwar Pandit? So Kashishwar Pandit, he was one of the associates of Lord Chaitanya when he was in Jagannath Puri. And he was a very strong built man, Prabhupada writes. He was a physically very strong person. So what was his service? Whenever Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would come to Jagannath Puri temple to take darshan, all the people, they would just come and everybody wanted to touch feet of Mahaprabhu. So because Kashishwar Pandit was a very strong man, he would protect Mahaprabhu from all these things. Another service of Kashishwar Pandit was he would distribute prasad to all the devotees. So, who was Kashishwar Pandit? In Gaur Ganoddesh Deepika, written by Kavi Karnapur, he describes that this Kashishwar Pandit, he was a servant of Krishna known as Bhringara. So, Bhringara was a servant of Krishna, he descended as Kashishwar Pandit in Mahaprabhu's pastimes. Another personality, Yadavacharya Goswami. He was another disciple of, he was another associate of Srila Rupa Goswami. He was also staying in Vrindavan. He was always absorbed in chanting and hearing the pastimes of Lord Sri Chaitanya. Then another very, very famous personality, Bhugarbha Goswami, was there. He was sent by, he actually came on his own from Jagannath Puri. When Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he told Loknath Goswami, you please go to Vrindavan. Loknath Goswami, he was not ready to go. He was saying, Mahaprabhu, you are staying here with all your devotees and you are sending me away. Why are you giving me this punishment? Mahaprabhu told Loknath Goswami that I am sending you to Vrindavan so that Vrindavan is available for all the world. Please go and excavate the holy places in Vrindavan. I will surely come there. I'll meet you there. Still, he was not so happy. Just to help Loknath Goswami, Bhugarbha Goswami also went with him to Vrindavan. And why he's called as Bhugarbha Goswami? Because he made a hole in the ground and he was staying there. That it was like a garbha in the bhu, in the earth. That's why it's called as Bhugarabha Goswami. He was also always engaged in discussing the pastimes of Lord Chaitanya. He was there. Then there was another disciple of Bhugarabha Goswami. His name was Chaitanya Das. He was there. Then Mukundananda Chakravarti, and there is another devotee, Krishna Das. They all were there. All of them, they desired to hear the pastimes of Lord Chaitanya. And therefore, all of them, they instructed Kaviraj Goswami. More agya korila sabe karuna koriya tastabar bole likhi nirlajja hoya. Now, Kaviraj Goswami is repeatedly expressing his fallen condition. Teho agya kori. All these devotees, they gave me orders. Agya kori karuna kariya. So it is their mercy that they gave me instructions. So it is a mercy of the devotees and superiors when they give instructions. One person went to Prabhupada and said, Prabhupada, please give me your mercy so that I can follow your instructions. Prabhupada said, my mercy is that I have given you instructions. Now you have to follow it. If a person is fallen in well and a rope is given, the person cannot demand, let my fingers curl around the rope. You have to do it. So when great souls, they give instructions, they give order, that is their mercy. More agya kori, sabe karuna koriya. Sabe karuna kariya. That is their mercy. They gave me orders. Tasabar bole likhi nirlajja hoya. Therefore, because they gave me order, that's why I am, having this courage to write. I am writing shamelessly. Prabhupada writes a very nice purport here. He says, to write about the transcendental pastimes of the Lord is not an ordinary affair. Unless one is empowered by the devotees and Krishna, nobody can write anything about Supreme Lord. So it is. So we can understand who is Prabhupada. He has written such a huge volumes of literature in such a short span of time. So how much empowered he is. Prabhupada writes, to be empowered to write literature, transcendental literature, it is a privilege. The privilege which is given. And a writer of the transcendental literature can become proud of it. But Viraj Goswami is presenting himself in such a humble way, saying, I am shamelessly writing. He's so very ashamed that such mercy is given to him, although he is not qualified. And what contribution Prabhupada has done. One time a person came to Prabhupada and said, Swamiji, I have written a commentary on Adi Leela of Chaitanya Caritāmrta, and it took me 7 years just to complete Adi Leela. Prabhupada said, I completed Adi Leela, Madhya Leela, Antya Leela, all in 3 years, all in 2 years, sorry. That's how empowered Prabhupada was. So unless one is empowered by Guru Parampara, nobody can write. One time, Srila Prabhupada was himself telling to Bhavanand Prabhu, actually, I did not want to come here. He was not talking about coming to America. He was talking about coming to this material world. So Prabhupada said, actually, I did not want to come here. But Krishna told me, you go and write some books and come back. I will take care of everything. So that was Prabhupada, personally ordered by Krishna, empowered by Krishna. So similarly, Kaviraj Goswami is telling, all these devotees of Vrindavan, they ordered me. Then what happened? Vaishnavera agya paya chintito antare madanu gopala gela agya magi bare. Now, When all the devotees, they ordered me, I became little anxious. It is natural, when somebody gives you a very big service, it creates little anxiety. Chintita antare. So now he has received the blessings of all the devotees. Now he goes to take blessings of Madana Gopal or Madana Mohan. Madana Gopal gela agya magi bare. Then I went to Madana Gopal to seek the blessings. Again, Prabhupada writes, this example should be followed. Anyone who attempts to write about Krishna must first take permission from spiritual master and Krishna. Then Prabhupada writes another very strong thing. One must become a perfect devotee by following the regulatory principles and chanting 16 rounds and come to a level of Vaishnava. Then one should take permission from spiritual master and Krishna. And this permission, how it will be confirmed by Krishna? How one can take permission from Krishna? Prabhupada writes, it will be confirmed by Krishna from within his heart. Krishna will surely guide that person if he takes instructions and permission from all the Vaishnavas and his spiritual masters. So Kaviraj Goswami now, he is in Madana Gopal temple. That time, the priest, the pujari of Madana Gopal temple, just like Haridas Pandit was the head priest of Madana Govinda Dev Mandir, there was another head priest. His name was Gosai Das. So Gosai Das, he was the head priest of Madana Mohan temple. And his name is mentioned when this land was granted by Akbar, by the Mughal kings. When they granted this land for Madan Mohan temple, they wrote a document. And in that document, the name of Gosai Das is mentioned. So this Gosai Das, he was the head priest of Madan Mohan temple. Kaviraj Goswami went to Madan Mohan temple and he offered his obeisances. Prabhuro charana yadi agya magila, Prabhu kante haite mala khasiya padila. So he offered his obeisances, and as he offered his obeisances, a garland from the neck of Madana Gopal slipped down. Now, everybody understood that this is the indication from the Supreme Lord. This Supreme Lord Madan Mohan has given his sanction that please write Caitanya Caritāmrta. And all the other devotees, how they responded? Saba Vaishnava Gana Hari Dhvani Dila, Gosai Das Animala More Gole Dila. All the devotees, they were happy. Everybody chanted Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Saba Vaishnava Gana Hari Dhvani Dila. And Gosai Das, he brought the garland and put on the neck of Kaviraj Goswami. This is a Vaishnava community. Such a beautiful exchanges are happening here. All the devotees, they are celebrating the victory of Kaviraj Goswami. That is how Vaishnava is. He is always happy seeing others advancing in Krishna consciousness. That is a devotee community. In fact, one time, Radhanath Swami Maharaj was telling, when we see other devotees advancing in Krishna consciousness and we become happy, just by becoming happy seeing others' advancement, we also advance equally. Although it is very difficult to be happy seeing others advancing, seeing others getting mercy of Krishna, mercy of devotees, it is not so easy to be happy. We may make a show of, being happy, but unless we are completely purified, we cannot be actually happy from within. Although it is a process, at least we have to try becoming happy. That is a devotee. That is a devotee community. Always encouraging others. Even when we compete with each other, it is described in the 10th canto when all the Gopas, they are with Krishna in Vrindavan. Krishna goes a little far away to see the beauty of the forest. All the cowherd boys, they run towards Krishna. Yadi dure gatam Krishna vanashove kshanayana aham purvam iti samsprashyare mire. They all run towards Krishna. I will touch Krishna first. I will touch Krishna first. But what is their mood? Our acharyas, they tell, every cowherd boy is thinking, seeing me running faster, my other friend will run faster than me. He will touch Krishna first. That is the mood of a devotee. Everyone wants to keep others ahead, help everyone else to advance in Krishna consciousness and become happy in seeing others' advancement. That is the Vaishnava community. So when all the devotees, they saw Kaviraj Goswami receiving such mercy of Krishna, Madana Gopal, they all became happy. Agya mala paiya hamar hoila anand tahai karinu ei granthera arambha. So getting the Agya mala, the garland of permission, garland of instruction. So when Kaviraj Goswami received this garland of permission and instruction, he became very happy. Hoila Anand. And then I commenced writing this Caitanya Caritāmrta. Next is another beautiful verse. Kaviraj Goswami is really presenting such wonderful qualities. Ei grantha likhaye more madana mohan amara likhan ei shukera pathan. Ei granth likhaye more Madan Mohan. Madan Mohan is making me write this literature. I am not writing it. I am just a puppet. I am just a parrot. Amara likhan ei shukera pathan. A parrot, whatever you teach him, the parrot will speak. Nothing is his. One time Prabhupada was speaking to the reporters, and one reporter asked, Swamiji, how did you write these books? Prabhupada said, oh, Krishna comes and dictates, and I just write down, I take dictation. So he was surprised. What, Swamiji? So one of the disciples, he wanted to explain. He said, no, what Swamiji is saying, what Prabhupada is saying, that Krishna inspires him and he speaks and he writes. Prabhupada said, no, I am saying Krishna personally comes and dictates and I take dictation. Ei grantha likhaye more madana mohan amara likhan ei shukera pathan. Exactly same thing Kaviraj Goswami is saying. Prabhupada writes a very, very, very important line in the purport. This should be the attitude of all the devotees. Nobody should think, I have done it. We may create big community, we may be doing big preaching, big services, big lectures. What are we doing? We are just repeating whatever we have been instructed and taught by our previous acharyas. Whatever Krishna inspires, we are speaking. Otherwise, if Krishna takes away his mercy, nobody can do anything. Krishna gives the power. Shabda ke paurusham rishu. He gives the intelligence. Tesham satyate yuktanam bhajatam priti purvakam dadami buddhi yogam tam. Krishna gives the intelligence to a person who is engaged in serving him. Prabhupada writes, Lord gives instructions and directions to a devotee, and then a devotee's life becomes perfect. And whatever a pure devotee does, he does it under the direction of the Supreme Lord. And that is what is, Kaviraj Goswami saying. I'm just writing whatever Madan Mohan is telling. Ei ग्रंथ लिखा है मुरे मदन मोहन हमारा लिखने शुकेर पठन. I am not just a parrot who is speaking. So now he is going to the deeper level. Somebody may say, at least you are speaking, right? He says, no, I am a wooden doll. Say likhi madan gopal ye likhaye, kasthera putli na kuha ke nachaye. Even I am moving my lips, even if when I am writing, my hands are moving. It is all happening by the will of the Lord and the power of the Lord. I am not just a parrot, I am a wooden doll. Say likhi madan gopal ye likhaye. I am just a wooden doll. That's what Prabhupada he wrote when he was in Jaladuta. He wrote Markine Bhagavata Dharma. Nachao, nachao, Prabhu, nachao se mate. Kasthera putali yena nachao se mate. That's what Kaviraj Goswami says. Prabhupada writes, this is position of a pure devotee. One should not take any responsibility of, any credit of any service. So I have done this. No. It is all the mercy and the power and the blessings of the Supreme Lord, who is inspiring from within and without. From within he inspires as Chaitya Guru, and from without he inspires as spiritual master. So therefore we are just a wooden doll. Whatever we may be doing, we should never forget, if Krishna doesn't want, we cannot do anything. That's what happened to Arjuna. That great powerful personality, the supreme archer, who had defeated Bhishma, Drona, Kripa. He had astonished Lord Shiva, killed all the Nivata Kavachas. When he was bringing the wives of Krishna, he was attacked by some cowherd men who had just simple bow and arrows, and they defeated Arjuna. And Arjuna, when he reached Hastinapur back, Yudhishthir Maharaj was thinking, why Arjuna is not coming back? So many months have passed. Arjuna was in very, very morose situation. He said, "O king, I have been bereft of that great personality. Panchitoham Maharaja Harina Bandhu Rupina Yename Aparitam Tejo Deva Smapanam Mahat." He acknowledged, by his mercy I could astonish even Devatas. Tadvai dhanushtai shava ratho hayaste soham rathi nipataya tadanamanti sarvam shanena tadavu dasadishariktam bhasmam hutam kuhakaradham evoktamushyam. This is the same bow, same chariot, same Gandiva, same warrior, same horses, but still everything has become null and void because Krishna has left. Prabhupada writes there, nobody should be proud of borrowed plumes. Nothing belongs to us. Everything belongs to Krishna. So why we should be proud? We are just a wooden doll in the hands of Krishna. Then Kaviraj Goswami says, Krishna Kuladi Deva Mora Madan Mohan Yara Sevaka Rupa Raghunatha Rupa Sanatan. And then in the conclusion, he again offers his obeisances to Vrindavan Das. वृंदावन दासेर पाद पद्म करी ध्यान, तार आज्ञा लिखी यहाँ यहाँ ते कल्याण. By the mercy of I take shelter of the lotus feet of Vrindavan Das, by whose mercy I can write this. I am just trying to write this most auspicious literature. Chaitanya Lilate Vyas Vrindavan Das, Tara Kripa Vina Anya Na Hai Prakash. Only by mercy of Vrindavan Das Thakur I can write this literature. Otherwise, who am I? I have no qualities. Again, he is expressing his humble position. He's saying, I am fallen, I am a fool, I am low-born, insignificant. Who am I? Just because the Vaishnavas are giving me orders and instructions and their blessings, that's why I'm writing. Murkha, Neech, Shudra, Ami, Vishay, Lalas, Vaishnava, Agya, Bole, Kore, Teka, Sahas. I am engrossed in sense gratification. Only when the devotees are showing mercy, that's why I am daring to write this literature. And he ends this chapter, like every chapter, by offering obeisances to Rup Sanatana Goswami, Rup Raghunath. Shri Rup Raghunath Charane Rei Bal Yar Smrite Siddha Hoye Vanchita Sakal. That is the power of remembering the lotus feet of Shri Rupa Goswami and Raghunath Das Goswami. Just by remembering their lotus feet, by remembering them, all the perfection can be achieved. All these descriptions should make our faith very, very strong in mercy of devotees. Otherwise, if we don't receive mercy of devotees, their sincere blessings, there is no way we can advance in Krishna consciousness. However expert we may become in our skills, Krishna is not pleased by our skills. Krishna is pleased by how humble we have become. So the more we please Vaishnavas, the more we get their sincere, heartfelt blessings, the more we will advance in Krishna consciousness. That is the whole theme of this chapter. Kaviraj Goswami is presenting, telling again and again that I am no one, I have no power, I have no intelligence, only by mercy of the Lord, mercy of the devotees of the Lord. I am daring to write this. And he writes this many times. Even in Antya Leela, he writes this. He says, Vriddha Jara Turami Andha Badir, Hastahale Mane Buddhi Nahi Morastir. Oh, I am old. I am down. I am not able to see anything. I am not able to hear anything. I am writing. My hands are trembling. Still, I am writing. Sri Govinda, Nityananda, all these devotees, they gave me their blessings. Sri Chaitanya, Nityananda, Sri Rupa, Sanatana, Advaitacharya, all these devotees, they gave me their blessings. That's why I'm writing. Madan Gopal gave me their blessings. That's why I'm writing. That is the glory of the devotee. He never forgets. Without Vaishnava's blessings, there is no hope. There is no success in Krishna consciousness. Ekaki amar nahi paibal harinama sankirtane. Tumi kripa kari shraddha bindu diya deho Krishna nama dhane. So therefore, Kaviraj Goswami ends this chapter by offering obeisances to Rupa Raghunath, Sri Rupa Raghunath Pade Yaras, Caitanya Caritāmrta Kahe Krishna Das. So we'll end here. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai, Granth Raj Srimad Bhagavatam, Granth Raj Sri Chaitanya Caritāmrita ki Jai.